Welcome back to Project Ozone 3 Kappa mode. In today's episode, we're going to get started by looking at blood magic. I did leave it on the back burner while we got some other stuff up and running, so we may as well take a look at it now. If you remember rightly, when I basically removed all my portals, replaced them all with dislocated pedestals. So much nicer. Anyway, where do we leave it with that? This one. Okay, so over here we have our three altars, but nothing really is going on with them right now. They're just the basic altars. They have none of the surroundings, none of the runes, everything else, so we only need to get to that. But first of all, we want to basically make a couple of other items and have them around. One, we would like a way of not having to use these snares to get demonic wool. And to do that, really, we're going to want to craft a forge. Is it Hellfire Forge? Hellfire, yes, that's the one. Hellfire Forge. It's a simple enough recipe to make, except that it needs condensed flame from LordCraft. There's a heavy LordCraft requirement to get to blood magic. So down here, we need to make that central item, which I already went and did, or at least have ready to do. There we go, one condensed flame. And then we should basically just be able to get a block of iron or gold, it looks like. So let's just go for... I have some blocks of iron already, and then a couple of pieces of iron. Excuse me. And that should be enough for our Hellfire Forge, I assume. Yep, there's our Hellfire Forge. Good. So we now have the ability to use... there we go. Hellfire Forge. Used well. I don't think we need to put it anywhere particular. We don't need to put it near our altars, but we probably will do later. We'll just put it down for now. You'll see there's 4 or 5 blocks on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side there's basically a sort of another slot, and then this is going to fill up, I think, if I remember rightly, once we get the right input. So for now, we need to make, I think it's called a Tartaric gem. Tartaric? Is that the one? Yes, but petty Tartaric gem. So it needs a few things on the left-hand side, and it needs a demonic will, and it gives you a petty Tartaric gem. Okay, so each of these tiers can be upgraded to the next tier with some extra requirements, and it'd be nice for us to get to decent tiers. But I think we can also do other things with them. Let's have a look. Is there anything we actually want? Yes, we definitely want the Sentient sword. So that's a given. Basically, then you don't need snares. You can just hit things with the Sentient sword. It basically increases the damage the more willpower you have on you as well. So it's handy to have around, particularly as we're going to be going across the Twilight Forest to get some more Ironwood, because we need to do some more research in LordCraft. So let's get this started by the Tartaric gem itself. We need some redstone, gold, lapis, and glass. So let's just get those going. So redstone, gold, glass, and lapis. Okay, all 4 of those. One other thing I did want to show you, actually, just following on from the last episode, down here I improved this setup. So this is now stock keeping exactly what I want in the system. If you aren't aware of stock keeping systems, this is one of the simple ones. It's using all 8 channels on this sort of cable, but 4 channels for each setup. What we basically do in here is put a crafting card at the top right and tell it to just supply pyrotheum dust. The system already knows how to make pyrotheum dust, so it will then start filling in the bottom slots here with pyrotheum dust and crafting more until all these slots are full. On the bottom of that interface, we then put a storage bus, and I don't think the priority matters too much, but I've put 1001, so it will try and store basically pyrotheum here before anything else. And then it is visible to the system, and because it's visible to the system, you can basically then put an export bus here with pyrotheum, and this thing will constantly be kept full of pyrotheum. Whenever you use it, it'll get depleted from here, because this is the storage container now for pyrotheum, and it will then get pulled out and then get refilled by being auto-crafted by the usual setups. And why is there a... I don't understand. How did that even get down there? I have no clue. Anyway, 2 of those setups. 2 of those setups, and we have the same thing here for cryotheum, and they can then basically have a much simpler setup for the whole neutral steel. I can order neutral steel 2nd degree, and it's a simple recipe then. It's just stuff in, stuff out. No need to consider this second block whatsoever, because it's always kept full of whatever's needed. It's like a fuel, basically, for that matter. So everything becomes much simpler. and you don't have to worry about it. You can add more as you actually go along, but you'll probably need to rearrange the cables, etc., to run off a dense cable or a P2P network, which we will get to a little bit later. Anyway, back to this. So we have all 4 of those. Hopefully they go in, and is it just the demonic will? Do I have anything in here? Yep, there it goes. It's going to use some of this up, I would imagine. Yep, it's going to use exactly 1, so you need exactly 1 or higher will quality to get started. And that is that. And then we just want an iron sword. Or just make 1. Okay. And put the iron sword in. Put our... I'm not sure if this has been charged. No, it hasn't been charged. Is it just 2 of these? And then we can just put it here. Yes. You're going to make me a sword. You are. Sentient sword. Okay. So the sentient sword's here, and then we need to basically make another one of these. So we'll just do the same thing again. That's run out of wool quality. So that one's out. And let's just use this one. And we should be able to immediately upgrade it to the next tier. So what did it say for that? So let's take the uses. Press U. And there's the recipe. Is it the same stuff again? No. Diamond, lapis block, and redstone block. Okay, I'll make that off camera, but you get the idea. You know how that works now. We can't upgrade it yet because it needs more willpower to actually do so. It needs at least 20 will, if I remember. Well, looking at JEI, we can see in here, hover over the arrow, basically. Yep, so it needs a minimum of 60 will, and it will drain 20 will, but to transform it into the next tier up. So you gain that will by basically killing stuff with your sword. That was 10.88. Well, hang on, let me just get rid of you. Okay, so that was 2 or 1.5 or something like that as far as the spider's concerned. So just keep killing as you're actually going and gathering more ironwood. You need the ironwood because to get to the next stage, we want the weak blood orb. That requires us to have done Runestone's research, which I have done. But from there, to get to these scorching crystals, I need tier 2 fire, and I only have 6 tarts left. I'm a little bit short. So it's a good point to gather some will while you're at it. With the fire research done and the Runestone's research done, I then can go and craft up whatever it's actually asking me to do to get to this weak blood orb. So we need basically to do this in a Runestone crafter. So I have to make the Runestone crafter for start off. I need a staff crafter, which is just another one of these workbenches in the workbench. So you make one of those and you can turn it straight into a staff crafter. That makes a Runestone crafter, which is good. Maybe I'll even get an achievement for it. Quest. I guess that'll do. And then that's basically what we're going to be making this Lordic Runestone of fire with. Let me add that to favorites. So we need the scorching crystals from the fire research. I've made a few of those. And it looks like we also need some of the Lordic Runestone, which I haven't made before, but looks like they're simple crafted via, again, this arcane crafter, via the simple Runestone, which is more mana infused shards. And if you don't know what mana infused shards are coming from, I think it's just, let's just press R. Yeah, it's just the mana infused dust. And rather than going and getting torchberries, you can just make it straight from 2 redstone. Easy enough to actually do, and then get this stuff crafted. There we go. We got our simple runestones, which I've got 2 just in case, and we can use that again to make it the next tier, the Lordic Runestone. We need Lordic Stone for that, however. And that is, again, just mana infused shard and stone. So, well, I guess I need 8 of those, which means I need quite a lot more of these. So let's just go and craft more of those. Off it'll go. And again, just pour redstone thing into this thing and then more light crystals. Do I have any more light crystals? I hopefully I do. Light crystal, bright crystal are they called? I think they're called bright crystal. Bright? Yes, bright crystals. Are they the ones that get put into there? They are. Yep. And I've got 64,000, so I just need to make a few more of these if I need to, which is just more glowstone and simple crystals. So yeah, off to make the Lordic Stone. In fact, we've got enough there now. And let's just dump you in. Yep, consume that, and then we'll just basically convert all of those over. Why aren't you converting? Does it have to be chisel stone? Lordic stone. No. Yes. It has to be chiseled. It wasn't chiseled that was the important bit. The important bit was that I needed other research, which I don't have. So I'm going to have to make, the main thing is the research is transform, and we don't have transform yet, but we can translocation matrix. To unlock it, you need the translocation matrix, I think. Quick Googling reveals that. So we've got the translocation matrix, and I think we need to teleport some stone or dirt according to Reddit. So well, let's get it set it up to do that. Stone or dirt, if I can remember how to use this. Is it just a lever? And I made 2 of them, I'm guessing. Uses, let's just check. Yeah, more research is needed. We need this void eye research down here because it's going to make us the marker that we can translocate stuff around with. So if I then click on this, it should craft up into this sort of prerequisite item, the void eye, and if we combine that with an ender pearl, that should make us into a translocation marker, which is this sort of dark blue item. There we go, and then I should be able to translocate 2 things. So if I just put this here, I assume it's a lever going to be needed for this. So if I shift right click and left click, yep, that's established a link between them, and then click, and it basically transposes them. It also makes basically soil into Lordic soil. Yes, does that actually make things into Lordic stone, though? Interesting. How about if I just get some regular stone and just put that away in there? So let's mark you in. Yep. It does make Lordic stone. That makes it a lot easier to actually get Lordic stone, unless there's an easier way that's just in here. So Arcane Forge, that would be the normal way to get Lordic stone. But it's just basically being transformed by being broken through here. So if I just put this back, I should be able to flip it backwards and forwards and get all the Lordic stone I need for the next step. Regardless, that does or should unlock, yeah, transform up here. So we are able to then make everything we need, basically. We don't have void power unlocked yet, but this one is now unlocked. In turn, that should now get the words out. Let me make the prerequisite for this, which is the Lordic Runestone. Basically, go through these, get to the right one. There we go. So this should now make an offensive version, and if I put that through the crafting grid again, I should get utility, and the utility is the one we want, along with some of these. Was it 4 of these? Let's take a look at the weak blood orb. Oh, just one, and into our Runestone crafter. So 1 in there and 1 in there, and assemble Runestone. There we go, Lordic Runestone of Fire, which is exactly what we need to throw it into a blood altar with 2,000 life points. So I need to go and get my sacrificial dagger and go and head to a. There we go. Go and head to one of our altars on the portals. Take a second. When I remember which one it is. There it is. I need to put signs up. And there we go. Okay, I can't remember which altar I was using. It looks like this one. And to be honest, looks like that's nearly full anyway, so that should do. And in we go. And there, with that should transform into the weak blood orb. Yeah, and you normally shift right click it to basically lock it to your own owner. Otherwise, it wouldn't be attached to you. And you can then put it in here, and it should absorb basically the life essence in the altar. But yeah, so we're into now blood magic properly. Next up, we're back over to Botania because, well, frankly, we can't make much more without Botania. Let's take a look, because I need lots and lots of Ironwood, essentially. Because a lot of the stuff that we're going to need is going to need the Ironwood. So let's go Ironwood. We're going to need Ironwood blocks to make what we're going to be getting, but even so, Ironwood itself is going to be used to make the inscription tiles, and the inscription tiles are going to be needed. This version, the imbued inscription tile, is going to be needed to basically make the blank slates that we use in blood magic. And yes, so it's very, very different, and that means a whole bunch of this and a whole bunch of mana infused dust. And the mana infused dust is easy. The surrounding stuff, not so much. It needs Ironwood. So Ironwood seeds it is, and Ironwood seeds are the next tier up. Which needs Runic altar. So yes, we need to make a Runic altar, but we also need to make some of this other stuff as well. Tier 3 crafting seeds in particular is going to need some intermedium, so we're going to need 8 intermedium total. And we should have, let's just have a look into medium. Yeah, there we go. So we should be able to make 8 if I've got enough. Oh, yeah, run out. Okay, I've got 4. Let's see. We need to get some of the second degree stuff, don't we? So I need to get another 4 worth, so another 16 of this. Do we have enough for this? Will it let us? Looks like it will. So we're going to be able to get enough of that of the second degree, and then we need to get some more of the Prudentium to be able to upgrade that and then get to our intermedium. But that bit of it is fine. The rest of it is the Runic altar itself and another mana spreader and bits and pieces to be able to do that. We have some Black Lotus from our mob farm. That means I don't necessarily need to actually go and create a sustainable mana generating setup if we have enough Black Lotus. So if we go and let's take a look, or is it Black Lotus? It's one of the two. This stuff. So I have 8. Not much, but maybe enough to get us started. If you have a look just how much mana it basically gives us, if we just drop that into our mana pools. So here it is. That's about half full. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's nearly full there. So yeah, you can get a lot from Black Lotus if you can find a way of. Can we actually make them? No, just loot bags, and only 0.5% drop chance out of legendary loot bags. So I keep the mob farm on, and basically I have a rule that if it can't find a place for it, it's just going to dispose of it in the end. This end thing here, they're just the trash can if it can't find a place for it. So yeah, nothing ever seizes it up as far as it's concerned. It just throws stuff away. Yeah, so there we go. We need to get to Botania, which means I need to get that Runic altar running. So Runic altar needs the verdant crystals and mana pearls and living rock. Both of those we can get. Verdant crystals are a little different. They need some bright and dense crystals, which are easy, and this mystical flower cluster, which is less so. So I'm going to need to just get some more floral fertilizer and basically collect enough to get, you know, at least one of these going. So right-click each of the items onto your Runic altar and make sure it's in line with a mana spreader that's in line with a mana pool, etc. Make sure they're all linked. And you can see you've got 4 intermedium, the tier 3 crafting there, a mined diamond, and we've got 4 blocks of ironwood floating past. And if you hover over this with your wand, you'll see that it's making the seeds, the ironwood seeds. They're going to be unidentified to get started, so I'm going to need to run them through this whole setup again. But yep, that's perfectly fine to do off camera. You've seen that before. And that should be just about done. So we need a piece of living rock. Yep. And let's drop that on there. Yeah, so it's perfectly happy with that, hopefully. Why are you not basically accepting this? Come on. It does help if you don't... if you use the correct one. This is Astral Sorcery. That's not Botania. That won't work with Botania. You want to wander the forest, which I didn't have in my inventory. So let's just take a look. That's the only one I've got. Where's my wander the forest? It's probably in this chest over here. And, well, yep, there it is. And it didn't even show. Oh, I've got stone selected. Never mind. Okay, so now will you actually make what I want? Yes, you will. Good. So with that minor problem out of the way, we've got unidentified seeds, and I need to go and clean this up over here, but we'll identify them, get that running, and then we've basically got the same setup over here. In fact, I could even swap this out until I need sulfur, because, hey, it's just full of sulfur essence, and the crafter takes its time. We need to probably switch to another crafter. I did show this in another episode, may even been the last episode, but there is a crafter from Ender.io that someone mentioned in the comments. Thanks very much to you. And I haven't actually used it before, so I may well look at actually using it. It looks like we can actually make it fairly simply. It's the industrial machine chassis, so we may have most of what we can do for that. Let's just see what this actually says. I've put it into this. Do I have any spare? I've got most of the ingredients. How about industrial machine chassis? Have I even put that into the system to be able to automatically craft it? I have not. Okay. Fine, I can do it off camera though. You get the idea, and the usual kind of approach to get to 10, 10, 10, and this hopefully should say 1, 1, 1. It does. Good. All right. So I made the Ender.io crafter. Put a spectre coil on it, another plant gatherer, another setup entirely. Same as that basically, but let's just see how fast this is. Set up the recipe in here with an octadic, and let's just shift click in these 2.5 stacks, and that's pretty fast enough for me. And yeah, we should be good. So then all we need to do is use the usual thing of just basically throwing it into the system. And the chest, please. And then we can just auto output with Ender IO, so we don't need to worry about translocators or anything. That should work. Outputting to the top, and away it goes. Yep, off they go. Okay, so there is a buffering item stacks thing here as well that basically controls whether you're holding onto a stack or not. I'm not going to worry about that too much, which should mean that I now have lots of ironwood in the system. Well, stack and a half, better than before. Although I don't necessarily want the essence in there, so yeah, we'll leave that alone. Okay, so we now have this ready to go. As soon as this gets to 10, it'll start generating ironwood for us. We're then going to turn the ironwood into the blank slates. Here we go. Which is sort of the first tier of things, and we need to basically create lots and lots and lots and lots of these in our normal sort of process, and we may want to see if we can automate that a little bit. It's through a regular crafting grid, so we should be able to, as long as we can produce an awful lot of this somehow automatically, and that needs mana, unfortunately. So yeah, I may just have to make a lot of it. I'm not sure if the Arcane Forge is automatable, if that's even a word. If you know, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. And definitely having problems using translocators, it seems, with the crafter. So, or indeed with the plant gatherer. I'm not sure which way around it actually is. Although it seems to be working fine over there. So I'm just went away and got some impulse item duct. It's slower, but it should still actually work with a reinforced servo. Turn you on, and off you go, and that starts working. So, yeah, not sure what the problem is there. Maybe it's me, but yeah, seems to be working here, and it is a plant gatherer, and things are set up inside to have the crops output available to the back. So, don't know, comments down below, but otherwise, it is now working and being pushed into the system, which means I probably want to put the ironwood in over here, because we're probably going to end up with a whole bunch of it. So, let's just make sure I have this trying to be stored. Yeah, I've got like 500 so far, and that's going to build up no end. So is there any of these that have upgrades already? No, not you, but if I put you in there and go and grab some storage upgrades, I've got 7 of them. Yep, let's just dump all of you in there. Easy enough to do. And then we can just basically make sure I withdraw all ironwood that we have before it becomes unreasonable. And there it goes. So everything should now be stored into that system. And you can see it's increasing there, 12 stacks. Good. So we've got a lot of that done. And that means we're getting back to blank slate again. And our ability to make basically those items through this. So, yep. And we can then create blank slates. Blank slates can be then upgraded again by passing it back through a blood altar. What you want to do now is some kind of way of getting the ingredients in, i.e. these, not those ones, these ones, in, but in some kind of rationed fashion. Do we have a ration pipe? Rationing upgrade? No. We want some kind of way of only putting in one at once, essentially. Waiting for that to finish, and then grab the next one out. If some mods, when you try and do that, it will put in a whole stack and it'll keep feeding in, and that won't work too well with a blood altar. What you'll get to happen is it'll use up all the blood until you have lots more blood later. It'll use up all the blood and it won't complete the crafting, and you'll end up just basically using up all your blood for nothing out. So I need to set up a great new setup for that. So I think I have that working pretty well here. We've got basically, we have to use thermal expansion as far as I know. We've got a signal and some retriever here, which is set to 1 and 1. Basically, it'll only ever pull one of these items at once, and will only ever keep one of these items in its inventory at once. I'm going to need that sacrificial dagger. Bear with me a second. There it is. So what's then going to happen is you put your inputs in the left chest, and it will then retrieve one at a time and push it into the altar. The altar will then transform that into the rune, which will then get pulled by this server, which has another whitelist, only pulling the, not rune, blank slate, I should say, and then pushing that into this chest. So very simple and straightforward. We don't have anything to really continually supply this thing with its fuel just yet, apart from, well, me. But that should be enough for me to get a few of these processed, and then we should be able to use the blank slate, if I remember rightly, to get to the runes, which are like things like the speed rune, things like the blank rune is basically the starting point of this. You're going to need steel, your blood orb, and blank slates, and all of them combined should start making you the runes. From the runes that you can then craft whichever ones you want. And is that going to run out? It is going to run out. Let me just finish off this batch and then I'll show you the rest. As I was saying, we're going to craft them up into blank runes. The blank runes we're then going to craft up into the next tier of stuff, which is various different options. If you wanted to have lots of animals spawning around and using those to feed your altar, then you'd probably want the Rune of Sacrifice, which is probably further in. Yeah, there it is. But in our case, if we're using ourselves, at least at the moment, we'd want the runes of self-sacrifice, and where you put the runes is just where these blocks are. Basically, every outer area here that has the stone, for example, these block, not the corners, but these blocks can all be filled in with runes. You're going to want to basically work from the top down, so fill in these first eight first, and that will get you to the next tier, which will then let you upgrade the blood orb to the next tier as well. So if we look at the blood orbs, is there going to be a weird requirement from another mod? No. Just a block of redstone. Okay, so once we actually unlock it, that's perfectly fine and easy. But you need a tier 2 altar for that, which means you need the runes. So I don't think you need anything other than the blank runes, to be honest, to do that. Blank rune. Lots and lots of steel and basically blank slate. Now, because we need 8 for each altar, you might want to do each altar one at a time, I suppose, but we can just work on one altar to get it started. We don't need all 3 to get started, so that just means we need 16 blank slates. I've got 32, so we should have everything we need apart from a little bit of steel. With the steel done, we've got some blank runes that we can then use to basically lay our whole altar out. Yes, we don't have the next tier of orb up yet, but that should sort the problem out. We can then donate some more life essence to basically fill this thing up. There we go. And let's take a look at that blood orb again. This one. This needs 5,000, then a block of redstone, and that should be that. So 1 block of redstone, and that's over 5,000, not over 9,000. Obviously, and yeah, that should actually change into the next tier of blood orb for us. And the one after that is gold, and that just needs tier 3, etc., etc., as we actually work our way up. But these blood orbs we're going to need to make, because we need to then change these blank runes into the runes that actually boost things. So the rune of self-sacrifice, every time you donate life essence, it gives more than you were previously giving to the altar. So that's a very, very good thing, obviously. Saves you basically donating your life points quite as much. And you'll see all these other runes are around. And I'll go into next episode really sort of optimal setups for these. You tend to get, because some of them have an additive effect, some of them have a multiplicative effect. And depending on which altar you're talking about, it has different effects. And let's just basically attach that one to me. There we go. So some altars you will want the multiplicative effect, and some you will want some more straightforward stuff once we get into the various different purposes for the altars. But that's about it for today's episode. We've got the basic slate crafting off the ground. We've got blood magic off the ground. We've got Botania crafting in runic altars and into tier 3 seeds. Basically never need to go to Twilight Forest for Ironwood ever again, which is amazing as far as I'm concerned. I was sick of basically doing the 3x3 vein mining down there, but yeah, that's over with now, and we're progressing quite nicely through blood magic. If you're wondering why blood magic's good or good to actually get, well, one, it no doubt will have like requirements for the ultimate items at the end of the pack, but you also have a whole bunch of different types of things you can improve yourself with. There's the bound armor. There's a whole bunch of spells, effectively, that you can use to essentially make this cobalt pickaxe look like, well, like a stone pickaxe, put it that way. And then there's a whole bunch of sigils that you can use, and indeed rituals. And the rituals are kind of nice because you can get one, for example, that speeds up crop growth on top of this before you even get to that imaginary time block. You can get one that lights things with blood, essentially blood lamps, which is you can just carry it around in your pocket, basically. We've already got the divination sigil crafted a few episodes ago, so I can quickly tell how much life points I've got in my network, and if I want to put some more life points in, I can basically do this, I think. Yep, and you can see there's more life points. So one of those altars is going to be used with just having the blood orb in it, and it's just going to be absorbing blood from that. But that's the altar that you want to have a mob farm under, or something similar to a mob farm underneath. But we'll come back to that in another episode. For now, we've got it started. We're well on the way, and I clearly need to go and craft some more 4K drives. I'll leave it there. If you've liked the episode, feel free to give it a thumbs up down below. Subscribe and basically click on the bell if you want notifications for more episodes. I did want to just mention as well that Graveyard Keeper has just got a new DLC out called Call of the Crone. So I want to do an episode or two on that, which is kind of a nice little neat little game. If you haven't seen Graveyard Keeper, go and take a look on the channel. There's a playlist. And it's a very top-down, historically inaccurate graveyard simulator, I think is the description the devs have. Yeah, so it's kind of a good game to just start to optimize things, and that's sort of, I guess, what my audience is more interested in, hopefully. Anyway, so I'll leave it there. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.